Miss Amanda Gore.
We haven't got time. Now, I don't normally start off with notes, but there are so many things I'm grateful for that I just want to share it with you first, so I had to write them down first. First of all, I'm 64, and in the last 2 days, I have learned I am not in the last third of my life.
There you go.
I am only just completing the first third of my life, or possibly even quarter. So that's the first thing. Thank you, Doc Rod and the whole of Youngevity. Don't clap, we've got time. Second thing, I'm in love with Sanjeev. Third thing, look, I was writing up some things and I thought, look, this is clever, isn't it? And I came up with a new thing. Look, joy is really the joy of... Yeah, it's a very long word. Yes, I haven't got time to write it all. That's all. Youngevity, that says. That's the third thing. Fourth thing, hashtag, it works. Now, I was at a digital marketing conference a couple of weeks ago in Australia, and, I'm reasonably tech savvy, but I am, not at the top of the tech savvy, like 12-year-olds. And there's 112-year-olds at this event, and they're talking about bots. You know what a bot is?
Yeah.
I haven't got time to explain it, some of you already know. Anyway, bots are coming, and they're not robots, they're other things. And there's bits and bats and blah. Anyway, one of the most interesting things at this digital conference was that they were talking about, even though we had all these woo-woo fantastic technology people, the most important thing in business was H2H business. What do you think it is? Well, it is. I actually said it was heart to heart, but they were talking about, remember they're 12 and then they're in technology, they were talking about
Human,
yes, human to human. Now there's a thought, isn't it? Surprise! There's like a new thing to the 12-year-olds who are used to their phones and everything else. So I have been astonished at the people I've met here, truly, astonished. I've been a speaker for 30 years, and I live my life at conferences. Fortunately, I'm not in planes as often as Doc, but I'm in planes a lot. And, very quickly you pick up the culture of an organisation, and honestly, the Youngevity people, which means you, because better together, you're really astonishing. It's just like a different culture. And one of the quotes, don't clap me up at time, it's true you are, and I'm very grateful. Remember, I'm grateful for this. But there is a very different culture. And, I've never seen, a half-naked man on stage. I rest my case. I'm still in love with Sanju, but, Gore was amazing. And if you want to have, I'm going to be sharing a couple of ideas with you on the most important thing in life. And remember that you are iron men and women. We have to throw the women in there. And don't get your knickers in a knot about it. It's just like a term. But it's the essence behind being an Iron Man that's so important, isn't it?
Yeah.
And for those of you listening, I have spoken at many direct sales events and at the association. And I've been in the business myself. And I admire all of you. Because I know how much work it takes to succeed in this profession. And I know how much growth and development you need to do and what kind of stamina you need to be able to do it. So I humbly acknowledge all of you in this room and to all of those who support great teams. And I thought Corey's analogy of the Iron Man group was just brilliant because it's that community that holds you all together. And so many times we all sit and go, oh yeah, it's the community. Yeah, it's really important we're better together. Yeah. As you sit by yourself having a coffee with your cronies and your individual friends and the people at the same level as you, because you're so important. And we all sit and go, oh yeah, we're better together. And then we don't do anything to do together.
Right.
Human to human, heart to heart. This is a time to get real. In fact, most of the stuff that I talk about is truly about getting real. And in the last, like I said, 64, I've been speaking on this kind of stuff forever, but I never end up saying the same thing because I constantly learn and grow. I'll sit and listen in to 2 days of an event like this, and I learn so much. And one of the other reasons I'm so grateful for being here is because you have such rock solid research. I'm like, oh, I'm in heaven. I've died and gone to heaven. I was in wellness 30 years ago in Australia. Now, hopefully the Aussies will know what I mean, but the rest of you, don't get offended. Like, just build a bridge and get over it. Because I'm not trying to be offensive, it's just the way of the Aussies. And so 30 years ago, I said, yes, we've got to get into wellness. And I started speaking because as a physical therapist, I was so disappointed to see all these people in pain, and they didn't have to be in pain. If they knew what I knew, they would end up old, but flexible and kind of young. And so my passion drove everything, and I have searched and researched over those 30 years for information like I've heard in the last few days. Seriously, I felt like I've died and gone to heaven. So there I am, and I'm going, we're into wellness. And people would look at me and go, what? Wellness? Well, what? Wellness. And I go, what a wank. I'm not going to explain what that is, but it's not good, It's a pretty derogatory term. Anybody who's got sensitive ears go like this, la 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 la. And so I'm so grateful to have this research that's irrefutable, so I can go home and convert everybody to Youngevity products going, look, and cystic fibrosis. I used to work at the Brompton Chest Hospital in London, the world's most famous chest hospital. We had a gazillion cystic fibrosis kids come through, and it ripped my heart out every time I would have to treat a 12-year-old who'd made it as far as 12 and help them cough. Unless you've had a kid with cystic fibrosis, you have no idea what that's like. If I had known what you knew, Doc, those years ago, it would have been yelled. The Brompton Hospital would have changed. I would not have let it rest. You are so blessed to have the credibility of the research behind your products. And anybody who complains about not a lot. And anybody who sits in this room and or out there complaining that, I don't know why they've got all the other products. Why don't we just do this? Oh, there's another one. Oh, there we go. Slap yourself. Just slap yourself. In all my years of speaking in direct sales companies, I have never seen one take this approach. And it would seem to me a very, very sensible approach. Because you are not just barreling down in an arena where you've got a billion other competitors. And you're giving people a whole range of options and choices. A very good thing. So I'm grateful to experience that. And so back to what I was saying before. The other thing, apart from being in love with St. Jeff, is that I hurt my hand. And I'm in really good shape. I do Qigong, I take lots of vitamins. Obviously I haven't taken the right ones yet, but I've managed to survive reasonably well. But I did something in the garden, and my hand, like this knuckle, was really sore, and it was settling because I can't tell you exactly what was in the ingredients of a goo that I had from home. Of course, it magically appeared in my cupboard. So I had this, possibly hemp goo, not that legal at home, and I've been putting it on, and it helped a bit. But last night, I don't know what I did, I must have had a wild dream or something, but my hand was so sore this morning, and it was swollen. Well, this afternoon when I was doing a sound check thing, I was standing there and Lauren had the packets of the cream. So I thought, oh, you beauty. So I slished a bit out, I rubbed it on, and it smelled nice. And, I'm rubbing it in. And about, seriously, 5 minutes later, I thought, oh, it's not so swollen. Seriously, you should see that. Look at this. I can put my finger back to there. Dead set, I'm not exaggerating. I promise you, I do not exaggerate. I could not move my finger past here.
Wow.
Before I put the cream on. Seriously. That, if I was in Australia, I would use another word that is not a good word here, but at home it's like accepted. That stuff works. Oh my God, hashtag it works. And honestly, my magic goo, I call it magic goo from home, it's amazing. It's one of the most amazing things I've seen until this afternoon. I'm slathering that stuff everywhere. And here is another thing that I'm grateful for. There were so many good things said just tonight. Another one, I think Dave said this, being something bigger than yourself. Do you realise that that's one of the core indicators of someone who will live a long time? So even if you didn't have the nutrients, if you believed you were part of something bigger than yourself, it is astonishingly important for a human to be well. If you live your life in your own little bubble, then, even if you take the nutrients, you'll be miserable. You'll just be a sad sack. Living in your own little bubble. Everything's about your bubble and nothing else. So it's amazing. Youngevity gives you this phenomenal, bigger than yourself purpose, doesn't it? Like, seriously, with some of the stories you've got and the research you've got, if you needed any convincing, this is what the people you are talking to need to hear. I've seen lots of other companies. There's nothing like this. Hashtag it works. I know, I'm not engaged. It's all right, I'm just trying to show you my not swollen hand. Okay. And then JC and Lily were talking about, I've never heard this phrase before either, a living mindset.
There you go.
Yeah? What's so good about that? Well, mindset just so happens to be the latest buzzword everywhere these days. Do you remember not so long ago it was mindfulness? And everybody's talking about mindfulness and you've got to be mindful. Well, I had the great blessing of meeting Ellen Langer, who's a professor of psychology from Harvard, who kind of started the mindfulness movement. She is the most amazing, down-to-earth, like no BS woman you'll ever meet. She's phenomenal. I loved her. And mindfulness has been hijacked because when you ask most people what mindfulness is, they'll go, and they think it's meditation. No, it's not. Mindfulness is being present right here, right now, this moment.
That's right.
Not on your device, not thinking about something else, not scanning the room to see who's going to make you money and who isn't, who will be good on your team and who isn't. It's about being right here, right now, with every person with whom you interact. And even if there's no one there, being right here, right now. And, hold on, let me see. I think I covered all of them. Research, hemp cream, heart to heart, yes, awesome. So they are all the things I'm grateful for. So, if we get back to the concept of being really present and getting real, because really the art of joy is the art of getting real. And we constantly, without knowing it, lie to ourselves. So let me share with you a little story, because like home truths. Here I am, 64, been doing it for courses forever, teaching the staff, I've written books. So I meet a man called Dr. David Martin, who's an astonishing human being. He's running a course. I go do the course. This is a look at yourself deeply course and work out who you really are. I thought I'd done quite a lot of work in this area. Apparently not. So I come away from this course and I realised a lot of things, but my behaviour has changed more in that time than it has in all the years I have consciously been trying to change my behaviours, because I got to the root cause of the problem. And you know what the root cause of the problem was? I'll help you. It's the why. Story. It's the story I have been telling myself forever. So just quickly, I wasn't planning to do this, so I'll suck up some time. But as you go through the process, there's a set series of things. And he is a really normal human being. He's not he's not actually, he's amazing. But he's not the kind of hypey stuff. You don't do a big 6,000 people in a room and, you know, and everybody goes, oh! And it's a really down and dirty, get real. And so what I realised, when I was 2, my dad was an alcoholic and we lived in India. He was a tea plantation manager / alcoholic. And, hi Sanjeev. Anyway, I've got that Indian connection. Just call me a million years older, but I'm on the nutrients. And so, he'll be killing himself laughing at me. It's all right, Sanjeev, you don't have to be scared. You're safe. And so, you know, what I didn't know till I was 54, when my mum died, was that when I was about 2, that's the best I can work out, she left. She left us. Me and my younger brother, my sister, was at school. And because she wasn't well and she had to go to England for the treatment. Well, she was gone for a year. You know, I didn't even know that. She died. I never knew it. I found out from some other guy. Anyway, long story. But what happened was, when I was 2, I told my... Oh, by the way, there was also like some interference with an Indian guy whom the only memory I had of India was of a burglar running away from the house. Well, it turns out the burglar wasn't actually a burglar. But anyway, so, and my father apparently was too drunk to do anything. So, it turns out that at 2, I told myself a lie. I told myself a story that became my truth.
That's right.
It became a B-E-F. What did it become?
Belief.
A belief. And that belief influenced the rest of my life.
Yep.
So I told myself that I had to be responsible for myself because there was no one else there for me. Obviously my dad wasn't, you know, mum disappeared. We never knew. So a 2-year-old doesn't have the capacity to be rational and think things through. And so that's what I ended up telling myself. Well, not only did I weave that, you know, the only memory I have of childhood, which I've always known, but I never put the 2 together till I did this course. The only memory I've ever had is that I was responsible. I was always the responsible one at school. You know, we would go at 16, everybody get drunk. What was I? Sober as a judge. I was the one stopping people stabbing themselves. And I sort of been responsible. But I thought that was my personality. No, it wasn't. It's the story that I told myself, which in the end was a great big fat what? I'm shy. Any of you in this room say you're shy? Did you start off saying you were shy? Because anybody who thinks you're shy, no, you're not. Toddlers aren't born shy.
Right.
Toddlers, they run around till they're 2 or 3 naked. You know, kind of lifting up their cloak and no, hello, you look funny. They stick their fingers up their noses so far they disappear. They're not shy. They look at me and go, you look funny.
Yeah.
How does a toddler become shy? Because a toddler's scared one day and they cling onto mummy or daddy's leg. Mummy or daddy drags them around. No, she's fine. He's fine. They're just shy. He's just shy. No, he's shy. By the time you've heard you're shy 5 times, what are you?
Shy.
Big fat lie. You're not shy. Just as because what I did with the responsible lie, and I don't know if this is you, but maybe in a room of such caring people, some of you would have a teensy little bit of this. Well, I took the I'm responsible for myself into I'm responsible for everyone else.
Right.
I would spend the rest of my life till I was 64 fixing people. And I put into the equation a tad of narcissism as well. Which David pointed out to me in a moment of get real honesty, because I would fix everybody else whether they wanted it or not. I was a master of it. I built an entire career on fixing other people and getting paid to do it. Now, of course, I didn't hear or meet the ones who didn't take the advice on board, but I made my life with other people's lives with me living hell. 2 husbands later, yes, because I would want to fix them all the time. So I make this funny, but I have to tell you that fixing other people was one of the biggest challenges in my life. And I would try to stop it, and I would try to make a change in it, and nothing seemed to work. Then I go get the big slap on the face myself, get real, realize that I'm doing this from a face of narcissism because I would fix people to where I thought they needed to be fixed, and I didn't really give a rat's ass about what they wanted. So I've made progress. In the last 3 months, I now catch myself 50% of the time when I'm fixing someone else. Now that's 64 years worth of practice. So I'm pretty happy with catching myself.
There you go.
50% of the time. I don't have time, but thank you for the encouragement. And so my gift to you as we go through the rest of the presentation is not only that I'm just offering you love from the stage, which makes me sound like Mother Teresa, but it's true. The best that I can do for any of you, and the best that you can do for everyone else, is to actually accept them for who they are, first for me, and to not see them as needing fixing, and to actually just love them. Yeah. And I know that that message is repeated time and time and time again, but it's a bit like better together. We're humans. Well, I'll do a bell curve in a minute, and you'll see a tiny proportion of people really take that message to heart. They really do love other people. They don't use judgment as their fallback. They're full of compassion. Then there's a whole part of us who go, yeah, together is better. Yeah, together. Anyway, let's the three of us go have lunch. And then there's a pile down the other end who sit there and go, that sucks. We're not better together. They drag us down. Let's just be a posse together. Just beat the rest. See, we all fit into it. You've all heard of the bell curve? Anybody not heard of the bell curve? No? Everybody heard of the bell curve? Somebody's got to be lying. Anyway, like, get real, folks. Nobody's going to judge you with this. But the only thing that changes you in your life is you getting real with you, not anyone else. I've tried forever to stop fixing people. And in the last 2-3 months, mind you, I did have a bit of a personal crisis. I did think I was totally rubbish. I would not say that word, but a couple of you said, you know that. Anyway, I'll stop. I'll stop before I get myself into trouble. The Aussies know where I'm going. Anyway, this is the bell curve. I did think my life was over though. And roughly, the bell curve applies to any group, anywhere. Once you've got 3 people, you've got a bell curve. So we've got lots of, people fitting into this bell curve. And as I go through it, be really honest with yourself. Because it doesn't matter to me, it doesn't change my life if you're not honest. It doesn't, well, it probably will change your partner's life, but anyway, for people who aren't close to you, it doesn't matter. But it really matters to you. When you're living life on a lie, when you're miserable, when you tell yourself a story that isn't the truth, when you believe it and you act on the story that's a lie, that started when you were 0 to 7, when you didn't have the capacity to see the big picture, then life's not going to be what you really want it to be. So, and here's the other thing, just sidetracking a little. The other lesson I learned, I shared it with some of the leaders this afternoon, is that I found out, the way I got into speaking, I was a physical therapist, that's what you call me, and I always did a lot of teaching. I loved teaching. And I had written a book, and somebody asked me to speak at a conference about the book, and there's like 20 people at the conference. And there was a man there who was a professional speaker. It's like 100 years ago. And I never met a professional speaker. And at the end of it, he said, you should be a speaker. And I said, what's a speaker? I didn't know. I don't know, he got paid for it. Anyway, so he mentored me into the business. Well, I then studied with a man called Michael Grinder, who is the world's leading authority on non-verbal communication. And Michael said to me, you're a different person on stage from off stage. Now, I was mortally offended when he said this. Mortally offended. Because the one thing that I'd done, because I'd been in the speaking profession just a little while then, and I saw so many people who were this big bravado, ego thing on stage, and they would get off stage and they were surly, grumpy, mean people. And I hated that discrepancy, so I had decided I was going to be genuine and authentic and I was going to be the same person on stage as off stage. Well, apparently, I did become the same person on stage and off stage, but I actually became the persona, and I lost Amanda on the way.
There you go.
Think deeply about this, and I would share with you more intelligent information as I could, but right now, I'm not that sure who Amanda is. Because I've spent 30 years unconsciously being the persona, when I really thought I was super genuine. So the only piece of information that I can share with you around that topic is to look long and hard, because in this profession, it's very important for a lot of people to appear fabulously successful, and it was easy, and I'm here, and life is fabulous, and everyone else looks at us and goes, I could never do that. And you're not real. You're not real with them. I thought I was being real. Apparently not, though. So now I'm being as real as I know how to be. I'm not quite sure what that is, but I'm trying really hard. And so I hope it helps some of you in some way to look deeply inside yourselves and get real with who you really are.
Yeah.
And where your heart is. And what drives you truly. What truly drives you. And that purpose that's bigger than yourself. So, back to the bell curve. So the bell curve, remember, as I'm going through this, be honest, work out which section you fit into. Because you will all fit in here somewhere. So, at this top end, these are the people who are really successful. We would call them successful. These are the, like, you know, anybody with a star. And anybody who's on their way to a star. Anybody who's alive, really, but no, kidding. These are the people who have a growth mindset. And you know, we've gone from mindfulness to talking about mindsets, which is why I like that living mindset. This is a living mindset. These are the people who are fully living. And it may not be exactly where they want to be right now, but they're enjoying every moment. And they're making the best of it, even of the tough moments. And they're very present. They're here and now. Growth mindset means that you are an early adopter of change. You're not somebody who's down this end going, well, why do they bring another product in? There's so much change. Everything's changing. Why do they don't leave it the same? That's because there's a whole book written on this, and it's absolutely true. Like, whoopsie. Now, oh, I love these sticky tags. So the book is the article he started off, and then he got such a good response to it, he made a book. It's called Change or What is it? Die. And you know that. Your physiology changes all the time. You'd be dead, half of us, if our bodies didn't change. We've like been starved of nutrients forever, and all of a sudden, woofa, in come the nutrients, and what's our body do? You beauty, we can change. Seriously, if you don't change, you turn into a vegetable. Not a carrot or anything, but your brain dies. You know, we know that with Alzheimer's, apart from the products that you sell, keeping the brain active helps stop Alzheimer's. Keeps you interested in life. It keeps you younger. Want to turn into an old vegetable? Don't do anything. So it's critical. These people love change. Growth mindset, they're early adopters of change. They perceive challenges as fun. Down here, people go, that'll be hard. Oh, I'm not going to do it then. They'd have been gone on the first canoe. They wouldn't have made it to the first canoe. You know? And so these are the people who are fully living. Now, the interesting thing is, with all the new research on mindsets, Carol Dweck is the leader at the moment, and she teaches us that if we want children to grow up with a growth mindset, pay attention to this, all of you with children, and those of you with teens. If you want to foster and develop growth mindsets, you've got to praise effort. You have to praise effort. And in fact, to be the best version of yourself, which is my journey, and hopefully some of yours, and I try to do things like this which helps people remember. So to be the best version of yourself, the E stands for effort. Praise effort. Do not praise skills, talent, or strength or abilities. Praise the effort that people put in. And that develops a growth mindset. And that's what you want in your teams. So you praise the effort. We'll come back to the B's and the ST later on. Now, in this middle part, there's a huge section. These are the people who are average. These are the people who exist. You know, they think, yeah, well, you know, it is what it is. I tried. 3 people came. It's a bit hard. That canoe's a very long way away. Life's not easy. No, of course it isn't. But these people have occasional flashes of brilliance. And if you catch a moment of brilliance, and if you're honest with yourself, if you admit you're in this section, what do you have? It's a C word. Choice. That's very good. We have a choice. You can stay average. You can stay where you are and look at everybody and go, I wish I was up there. They've got a special talent. It's easy for people like that. I probably couldn't do that. You're probably not, if that's what you believe. If that's the lie you tell yourself, because epigenetics, Doc, I didn't know you were kind of like the co-founder of it. I love epigenetics. I love quantum physics. I love epigenetics. I'm a nerd, really, except I don't like technology much. Anyway, so I'm so excited to find out that way back then, he's got epigenetics happening. Because genetic, like zero, nothing. Everybody goes, oh, it's your genes. No, it's not. Do you know some of the latest research on stress? It's not stress that makes you sick. Guess what it is? It's your BEF. It's your belief about stress. It's the 15th leading killer of humans in America. What's a belief? It's what you tell yourself.
Lucky.
It's what you K. It's what you think. You guys aren't very good at hangman, are you? I suck at hangman. I get hung all the time. Anyway, so of course, it's what you think. It's what you tell yourself. And what you think and what you tell yourself becomes the S word? Story, which then becomes the belief, which then rules the rest of your life. But it's usually a lie. Ta-da! That's what the T is for too. Ta-da, down here. We'll come back to that. And so, it's a choice you make. Be average or not. But you know, not average isn't something that you wake up and go, well, today I'm not going to be average. I'm not going to do anything different, but I'm not going to be average. Okay, good luck. Now, it will make a difference if you think differently, but you actually have to do something most of the time, which is the challenge for the people down at this end of the bell curve. Now, at this end, so we've got the successful people, we've got the people, average, and then down here we have a group who suck. And these are the people who are, now the people who are in the suck category right now, they're sitting there going, she's a bitch. Just a clue, you know, clue. And the people up here go, yeah, she's right. That's right, it is what we think. It is the beliefs. I know we can do it. These people are going, oh, sounds hard. Yeah, maybe she's got a point. That's it. Bitch. Now, the people at this end, these are the victims. Now, the thing is, the people in this room, here's the interesting news, because most of you are thinking, I am in this category. Yeah. Guys, you all fit into this curve. However, there is a subtle difference, because the people in this room, you have made the effort to get here. You have made the effort to create your teams and to develop yourself and grow yourself. You've taken the bite, you've made the effort with your help. So what we have is a kind of your own little separate, I know this is very messy, keep reading, your own little separate bell curve up here, We're the ones who are successful, are awesomely successful. Then there's the people in the middle who are average, but the average is way better than normal average. And the ones who suck don't suck as much. Seriously. So, before you think no one sucks, you just suck less, okay? And the truth is, these people are generally, they're victims, and they're the ones who blame, and they make excuses, and they have a fixed mindset. These are the people who hate change. They hate change. It actually shatters their being. These are the ones who've lied to themselves, and they cling on to that lie for dear life. It's like, I'm going to believe this even if it kills me. and don't you see that? I fought my whole professional career against this. I've never been ordinary at what I did. I've always been thought of as a psycho. Oh, here she comes. Well, she's unusual. And, I thought that was a badge of honor, really. But I've always been so open to things. And I see it makes such sense. And it's so challenging to have to live, no, it's rubbish. See, now, the greatest gift I can give you, because what do you think the difference is? Oh, by the way, sorry, it's not that these people actually suck. The truth is, they are stuck. And the T is everything. Because what do you think it stands for? It's their thinking. Seriously, it's your thinking that makes the difference between the three.
There you go.
Now, 95 to 99% of the time, we are literally unconscious of what we're thinking. Look at me, 64, I've done every course known to mankind, humankind, personkind, and I have to wait till I'm 64 and I do this particular course to become conscious of the thinking that I didn't know I had. Was I making choices every single day? Yeah. Were they conscious or unconscious? Unconscious. My thinking was still ruling my life. But I didn't know what I was thinking. I thought I knew what I was thinking, but I obviously didn't know what I was thinking. So if you remember nothing from today, here is the gift that I give you. The greatest way to change your lives. On a kind of emotional level, not physiological. You know what to do physiologically. I'm not talking nutritionally. But the single greatest thing you can do for an emotional, mental level is to what? Become an... Oh, I'll write it. I think right over here. Oopsie. Is to become... See, I couldn't have done that this morning. I love the hint. To become an O-V-E-R. What is it? Observer of your thinking. Because once you become an observer, once you start to observe your thinking, what does it let you do? Become C-I-O-U-S. Conscious of your choices. There's a whole lot of C words, but I'm not going to have time to go through all the C words, but anyway, I'll help. So we start to become conscious. So let me give you an example. On the count of 3, I want you to turn to the person on one side. Wait till I count to 3, okay? Turn to the person on one side and look deeply into their eyes, and then turn to the other side and look deeply. Now stop. Because the people this end, they're sitting there going, oh, this sounds like fun. Oh, I get to look into someone's eyes. Awesome! These people are going, what? But I don't know the person next to me. I've never seen them before. I can't look deeply into their eyes. I don't look into anybody's eyes deeply. And then these people are going, nah, not doing it. And the worst ones, you know what they say? They say, I'm going to look like I'm doing it, but I'm not, bitch. Serious? And so observe your thinking, because when someone says to you, look deeply into the eyes of another person, we are all astonishing spiritual beings. Like that awesome little boy who was giving us that pep talk, whatever it was, before, he said this, you were born to be amazing.
Yeah.
I thought of adjusting it. You were born amazing.
That's right.
Not to be, you were born amazing. And then we lie to ourselves. Don't happen one more time, hang on time. Then we lie to ourselves to make us unamazing. You are sitting on either side of an astonishing spiritual being, an amazing being of light. And yet, half of us in the room have gone, what? Look into their eyes? Yeah, and then some of you will go like this. You'll look at Tony, you'll turn and you'll go, yeah. You'll miss their eyes. How do you think that person feels when you're like that? Now, everything in life is about this F word. Keep reading. And F-L-I-N-G. It's hard to write upside down. What is it?
Feelings.
It's feelings. Everything in life is about feelings. And the person on either side of you, if you don't look at them and look deeply into their eyes and smile, they will think that they're less than amazing. Just because you were embarrassed. And it is one of the greatest fears. It's another F word, actually. Here we go. Feelings. This is very messy. Sorry, guys. Getting carried away. So feelings, first F word. Second is FOMOT. What do you think FOMOT is? Fear of what others think. And I hate to burst your bubble. No one else is ever thinking about you, ever. Ever. Seriously. Because they're so obsessed with what you are thinking about them that they don't have time to think about you. Seriously. So throw yourselves into that. Give you a quick example. Like, let's say you're a boss, or somebody else, you're at work, and your boss comes out, and the boss looks angry, and stomps off. Now, how many people do this when they see an angry boss? Oh, poor boss. Do you think the boss is okay? Oh, let's all work really hard so the boss feels better. No, that does not happen. What happens is everyone goes, oh, did you see the boss? Did you see the boss? Do you think the boss found out what we did last week? They never think about you. So throw yourselves into this activity with the attitude, with the mindset of a growth mindset, a successful person, a person who's flexible and adopts change and embraces a challenge. So you're going to turn to the person next to you, look deeply into their eyes, and let's add something else to it. Okay, so watch your breathing. Because a third of you went, what now? Observe your thinking. It happens like this. It happens quicker than I can click my fingers. And it determines how you interact with others. So, you're going to add to it, you were born amazing. Okay? Or do you want to say you are amazing?
You are.
What do you want to do? You are amazing? How many? Quick.
You are.
How many? You were born amazing. Okay, you are amazing wins. Do you want to say you're an amazing spiritual being? Yes. Okay. So on the count of three, in a minute we'll have 28 things to say, and half of you can go, what'd she say we had to say? I got lost. So on the count of three, you're going to turn deeply into the eyes of the person next to you. You're going to say, you are an astonished, amazing spiritual being. And then you're going to turn to the other side. Now, by the way, listen, listen, listen. Observe inside, observe inside. Because if someone's saying that to you, and you hear a little voice inside you that goes, no, you're not. Slap it. Because it's a lie, it's a story, and I'm not trying to turn you into egotistical maniacs. I'm just trying to get us to recognize, to get real, and recognize that from 0 to 7, we embedded ourselves with lies and stories about who we are. And if we acknowledge those, and we start to change them, then everything else changes with a little more grace and ease than normal.
Yay.
So, on the count of 3, ready? Look excited. Remember these ones? Remember you're thinking, she's a bitch. So stop it. So if you're thinking, just throw yourselves into this because the astonishing person on either side of you is about to feel great. Ready? 1, 2, 3, go. Looking, looking, looking.
No one's looking at me.
You are an amazing spiritual being. Now the other way. You are an amazing spiritual being. Awesome!
We did it.
Fabulous.
Can you two call?
Okay, quick, come back. You've got time. Quick!
All right.
Now that person is from this day forwards. Come back. That person is your official joy buddy. Yeah! See? Look. These people, we have no time. These people, they go, awesome! I've wanted a joy buddy forever. These people are going, oh yeah? What do I do with a joy buddy? And these people, I knew I should have sat somewhere else. Now, Joy Buddies, your mission, should you choose to accept... Oh, by the way, okay, Joy Buddies, your first task, on the count of 3, quickly, don't talk any more than I'm going to say. You're going to turn to the Joy Buddy on one side and grab them by the shoulders. You're going to shake them and say, wake up, wake up. Your thinking really matters. And then the other side, wake up, your thinking really matters. Ready? 1, 2, 3, go.
Wake up, your thinking really matters.
Thinking really matters. Wake up, thinking really matters. Awesome. Come on back.
Amazing.
Okay, stop now. Some of you are going, I'm going to kill them. Oh no, stop butting your heads together, those two. It's going to get very unhappy. You'll need hemp ring on your neck. Okay, quick, come back. Awesome. And so, Joy Buddies, your mission, should you choose to accept it. There's a guy called Michael Gerber who wrote a book called The E-Myth, and the E-Myth stands for the entrepreneur myth.
Yeah.
In his book, he wrote that most entrepreneurs fail because they're too busy working in their businesses to take time out to work on their businesses.
There you go.
And in life, I think we do the same thing. Most of us are so busy working in our lives, we don't take time out to work on our lives until we're half dead. Or we have some attack of some sort, or a divorce, or something that wakes you up. This is your opportunity to work on your business and on your life. Because, Joy Buddies, you are in fact accountability buddies if you choose to be. You are resilience buddies, and God knows we need resilience in this profession. And so if you make the agreement that once a month you ring each of your Joy Buddies, so that's one every 2 weeks before. See, these people will be going, oh, awesome idea. Oh, how often? Oh, what about once every 3 weeks? And these people are going, what? I haven't got time to scratch myself, let alone ring 2 people twice. So notice where you are, observe your thinking. Seriously, if you talk to your Joy Buddy, 2 of them once a month, that's not a lot, and more often if you want to, and your commitment to each other is to work on your life, work on your business. Encourage each other, be each other's Iron Man, partner, buddy, Joy Buddy. And if things aren't joyful, talk about them. Be real. Get real with each other. And keep yourself real in your business. Because we tend to lose the plot a lot in life these days. And we get so famous or focused on money or stuff like that we lose what's really important. And then we end up 70 and miserable.
There you go.
Thinking you're half dead. Well, you don't even know. You've got another 3/4 of your life to go. Awesome! If you have longevity. So, and like I'm not doing this just because I get paid to shove it down your throat. I'm actually really sincere. I think it's awesome. Especially when you're my age. So, let's go on to a couple of other sciences. I'll leave the F's there. And now, back to beliefs. Here's one of the other key things, and we've already touched on it, #BetterTogether. Do you know the number 1 B word that almost every human needs, whether they recognize it or not? It's BELNG. Belong. We all want to belong. Loneliness is a killer. And the trouble is, we can be surrounded by people and still lonely. You can be your persona, look like you're very popular and happy, and be lonely, miserable as sin.
Sandwiches from Derek.
We need to belong. And that's why belonging to a purpose that is bigger than you is so critical. That's why working with your team and building the community and coming to these events and meeting other like-minded people that you're not trying to convince that they can live a way, way better life and have a much better future and health outlook and all of that sort of stuff. And trying to get them past that fixed mindset. What do you mean there isn't cystic? What do you mean it's not genetic? What do you mean you can reverse diabetes? Crap. You know, there's a whole world out there. So the S, it's a belonging is critical. And the beliefs are not only what you tell yourself, but as leaders, do you help other people believe in themselves? Because as long as you help other people believe in themselves, you will be successful in whatever you do. And what's a belief? It's a GHT. It's a thought plus a thought plus a thought. Belief is just a series of repeated thoughts. Or it's one thought at a traumatic time. That's why you've got to go in and look at the stories you told yourself. Right. You may have heard it from someone else, but it's still outside. You had to embed it in you to believe it. Is that true?
Yep.
So you end up telling yourself that story. So the S stands for SFE. What is it? Safe. Help people feel safe. It's one of the greatest gifts that you can give them. And the ways that we can help with that. What do you think is the most important thing in life? Gotta go so fast. The most important thing in life is how you feel about yourself. Seriously, the most important thing in life is how you feel about yourself. These people feel pretty good about themselves. They're not egotistical, but they know that who they are, they can grow and develop. These people, okay, sometimes good, sometimes not so good, no, up and down. These people, I suck. They're not going to tell you out loud that they think they suck, but deep down, they think they suck. That's why they think everything else sucks. And they try to drag everyone else down. And nothing's going to change their mind because they know deep in their hearts they suck. No, you don't. You're all astonishing. And who you are inside your heart is the real you. And soon I'll know what the real Amanda is. But I know that there's love somewhere. And I'm giving it to you. And I'm sure that's going to help me get to where I need to go more quickly. And that being vulnerable is not a manipulative tool, it's just absolute truth, which is where I am right now. And seeing I'm only a third of the way through my life, I have time. Lucky. Thanks, Youngevity. And so think about all of those concepts. Be very conscious of what you're thinking. Because how you feel about yourself is determined by your thoughts. How do you think a feeling comes about? You tell yourself something. No, it's not. It's when other people tell me things. No, it's not. They might say something, but we take it on board ourselves, don't we? Up here, down here I should say, there's a lot of judgment. Judgment of ourselves, judgment of others. Up here, there's more compassion and understanding. And the three core fears that stop people feeling good about themselves are these. The first is, I am not worth loving. Not worth loving. I haven't got time. That says not worth loving. Did you get that?
Yeah.
And the second is, I am not good enough. And most men get this, most women get this. And the second core fear, I am unsafe in some way. And really, the unsafety comes from our fears. Now, of course, if you're in a dark alleyway, in a dangerous suburb, and you hear someone pulling a knife out of a sheath, run! It's a very good time to run and feel unsafe, because you are. But most of the time, our unsafe comes from our thoughts, doesn't it? And the third core fear is separation. And that's another reason for that sense of belonging, for that community, for you all to pull together. And don't hang around in little clumps while you're here. Mix up the clumps. You know, like Aussies mix with the Canadians who mix with the Americans, and then you all make a big mishmash. And all of you exchange ideas and learn from each other instead of, there's a little posse of those from one country. Here. Stop it. Stop it. Anyway, so on the count of three, because you are all absolutely worth loving, and you are all good enough, doesn't mean we can't get better. We get better together. However, we can all get better. But let's embed into our cellular memory now the truth. So on the count of three, joy buddies. If you're sitting next to a girl joy buddy, you're going to turn to your girl joy buddy, look them in the eyes, and you are going to say, you are so worth loving. And if it's a boy joy buddy, you're going to say, you are so good enough. Now, don't do this. Don't go, oh, you are so worth loving. Or you are so good enough. Because that's all about you, not feeling good about yourself. This is about your joy buddy and helping them feel great about themselves. So you ready? Isn't this fun? On the count of three. 1, 2, do you know what you're doing? No, you went too fast. Now on the count of 3, 1, 2, 3, go. You are so worth loving. You stop waving at the camera and do it to your joy button. You are so good enough. Yes, you are. Absolutely. And quick, come back.
No, you didn't pay attention.
Now, quick, come back, because honestly we've got no time. Now, normally I will talk about 4 sciences. Neuroscience, we haven't got time. Epigenetics, we've done a little bit of. Emotional intelligence and positive psychology, we absolutely don't have time for that. So, in the middle of all of these sciences is the sweet spot of life and leadership, and I call it the joy spot.
Yes.
Not that one. Stop it. I heard that, Tom. Now, the joy spot is actually your resilience spot. And for my book, we have put a project into a school in Australia, and we call it the Joy Project at school. And in every classroom, we have a joy spot. There's a primary school. The kids know what the joy spot is for. If they're feeling miserable, they go to the joy spot, and they play with these toys, and they help each other until they feel better.
Yeah.
There's totally, there's a primary school student. What do grown-ups do? Joy spot. We know that is. Nudge, nudge. We all need a joy spot. Seriously. Whether it's in your phone and it's a series of photos that reminds you of wonderful moments in your life, or whether it's a photograph, digital rotating photograph, or it's a song, they're all joy spots, and they are astonishing spots for resilience. And the second last thing, when somebody asks you what you do, don't give it the normal thing, because everybody goes, they don't care. From now on, when someone asks you what you do, you say to them, put over here the F words, you say, I am a CJF. What do you think that is? Chief? Joy? Facilitator.
Oh.
Is that not true?
Yes.
Is that not what you do?
Yes.
So on the count of 3, joy buddies, you're going to look at your joy buddy one side, then the other. You're going to say, I am a walking joy spot and a CJF. So you're going to be a walking joy spot, and everywhere you go, you are a chief joy facilitator. So 1, 2, 3, go. I am a walking joy spot and a CJF. I am a walking joy spot and a CJF.
I'm a CJF.
No, it's okay. No, we haven't got time. Quick, the last thing. Come back. I'm just going to talk about emotional intelligence for a second. This, if you take away nothing else, take this away. This is the master reframer in your life. This changes everything. If you choose not to observe your thoughts, if you choose not to be a joy buddy, if you choose not to become conscious of your thinking and develop a growth mindset and be the best possible version of yourself, if you stop focusing on feelings, if you're not aware of yourself, okay, but do this. Everybody go like this. And then put them over your eyes. And you don't have to do it in a fancy way, just put it on normally. Now keep them on. These are your gratitude glasses. Keep them on. Gratitude is the master reframer. No matter what happens in your life, if you choose to look at it with gratitude, everything changes, including your physiology. So on the count of 3, joy buddies, you're going to turn to your joy buddy one side then the other and say, thank you, I am so grateful for you. 1, 2, 3, go. Thank you, I am so grateful for you. Thank you, I am so grateful for you. And now, I like these because they are free and with you everywhere.
Yeah.
But if you have to get fancy, get yourselves a set of these. When you wear these to every meeting, see, now the people here, they're going, awesome, I can get a pair of those tomorrow. These ones, she looks like an idiot. These ones, that's it, I'm done. But nobody walks up to you when you're wearing these and says, you look ridiculous. They say, I like your glasses, which is a perfect opportunity for you to look at them and say, they're actually my gratitude glasses, and I would just like to tell you why I am so grateful you're in my life. Hello? Who does not want want to hear that. Don't clap, we haven't got time. Seriously, we haven't got time. And those who have children, how do we teach children gratitude? That we say thank you to your brother.
Right.
Say thank you to your brother. Instead, get some of these, and every night at the dinner table, I don't care how old your kids are, you make it a ritual to go around the table, and every person has to say something for which they're grateful during the day.
Yeah.
And the earlier you start, the earlier you teach children about gratitude. Don't have to do it. And if you're having a team meeting and you have complainers in that meeting, teach them what gratitude are. I'm on YouTube. Go to my YouTube channel. There's little 10-minute clips everywhere. And you have these on the table. And someone starts to go, say nothing. You just slide these across the table. And you say, would you like to tell us why you're grateful when you're in our group? It's amazingly powerful symbols. And then these, this is a kit. And if you walk around with a holster, you've got your gratitude glasses one side, and this is the CJF wand. It gets better. This is the joy.